Hi, my name is Prateek and I am going to tell you something about a word that has been used and abused over and over in the corporate world. But today when I am going to talk about it, you would realize that it is not only confined at that particular context in which it is taken. I am going to talk about leadership. If you go to see leadership, this is a much more deeper and wider topic than the one which is simplistically made of. When we talk about leadership, we talk about leadership of a country, political leadership, societal or community leadership. We also talk about business leadership. Leadership has many facets. When people talk about leaders, they always assume that leaders are the ones where there are a lot of followers. Leaders have followers not because they have instructed the others to follow, but because they have inspired people and people by themselves have become followers. It's always said that mediocre leaders lead by telling people, good leaders lead by example, but great leaders lead by inspiring people. When I talk about leadership, there are many great world leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Bill Clinton, or talking about business leaders, we talk about Warren Buffett, we talk about Azim Premji, we talk about Narayana Murthy, and so many business leaders which come to our mind. Okay? Each of them, they always have different styles of leadership. Some of them are more democratic than others. Some of them are more supportive than others. I also remember one famous business leader called Ricardo Simler, who talks about being governing in absence. So leadership is not a position. Leadership is an attitude. Leadership is not what you do to the people, but what you do with the people. Now I am going to talk about something which is called situational leadership. It's always known that the world is changing fast and dynamic. So a leader has to always develop its people to a certain level so that they can understand these changes and upskill themselves to cope up with the changed environment. This is where a leader's role comes in. A leader's role does not come only in his own performance, but how he leads people to perform to the best of their ability. A leader is somebody who is developing people and unlocking their potential to deliver the best out of them. When we talk about situational leadership, this is a concept by Ken Blanchard, who talks about various styles of leadership and a mix and match of leadership. Okay? So there are directive styles and there are supportive styles of leadership behaviors. He talks about based on a particular situation, which could be the organizational goal, person, or this could be a particular perspective in which you are looking at a particular thing. So when you are looking at leadership, you are always looking at situation. There is no best style. It all depends on the situation in which you are present. A situational leader is seen as somebody who is flexible, who is adaptive, who is approachable, who is more of a promoter of the people or an internal consultant rather than a boss or an autocrat. He takes care of developing his people so that they can perform the best by adapting to various different styles of leadership, where we talk about 4 developmental levels. D1, where a person is very enthusiastic beginner, but he does not have skills. So his skill levels are very low, but the commitment is very high because he is pretty enthusiastic about the things. D2, where the person has acquired some skills and here he is not very sure. So he is a little bit better on the skills, but low on commitment. D3, where the developmental stage 3, where the person is more or less high on the skills, but there is variable commitment based on a particular task or based on a particular situation. And D4, where person only requires some kind of delegation to come to him and he can be on his own. Based on this D1, D2, D4, there are styles called S1, S2, S3 and S4, where you can choose when you need to be high on the directive behavior and when you need to be high on the supportive behavior. So, situational leadership enables a leader to be more flexible based on the situation, based on various other things. Then we talk about Gandhian style of leadership, where the management assumes the role of trusteeship and it helps people to achieve its objective of wealth creation based on the need. This model is something which is truly a great model when it comes to corporate governance. When we talk about leadership, everything from inspiring people so that they can achieve what they plan would be focused on. Eventually, it is the organization that achieves its goals. It is directing, supporting and coaching people to different behaviors, addressing their challenges, making them align these goals with them. Some time back, I was delivering a session with a client of mine where I came across certain situations where they were not very clear how to develop their people. I found out it was the leader who did not have a very clear vision. He could not really strategize and mobilize people. Look at Gandhi. He had no resources, he had no official position, he had no power for that matter. But still, he inspired the masses and mobilized the people, including his enemies. Now, this is what we call exemplary leadership. When me and this client of mine, we spoke for a while, we discovered that a lot of emphasis has to be given so that people can climb up the leadership ladder, develop themselves and deliver their best. So, they got engaged with us. Today, the company has clarity on its objective and is achieving one milestone after the other, and people are looking upon their leaders and created the environment or the culture in the company which is more or less enthusiastic in terms of achieving greater heights and deliver the best out of them. So, my request to you is understand this idea, practice this idea, develop your people so that they can deliver to the best of their potential. Thank you very much.